I know you said player
I
first.
know you've said player phase versus enemy phase isn't a helpful description for categorizing Fey games, but I haven't heard your rationale.
Jake, thank you for the $5 donation. Do you want that to go towards some of the route split? We've got Olwen Live versus Olwen Dead, if you want. As for my rationale as to why I don't think player phase game, enemy phase game is super useful, I've got no dog in the fight. In that case, do you mind if I put your money up for democracy? I let people vote on which those $5 go to. I can be like, next 2 minutes, everyone votes, and whatever it votes, that's where the money goes. I think that would be very funny. As for my reason though, the main thing is I think most Fire Emblem games revolve a combination of doing stuff on both player and enemy phase. I think player phase, enemy phase unit is a much more helpful description. Because usually when people say enemy phase game, they just mean easy game. Jake's money. Kill Olwen. Oh, nice ass bell. Spare Olwen. So usually when people say enemy phase game, they mean hard, or they mean easy game, and when they say player phase game, they mean hard game. And I think one of the biggest, like, demonstrations of this is people will say Conquest is a player phase game, because Conquest is one of the harder games in Fire Emblem, right? But some of the most powerful things you can do in Conquest are set up an enemy phase build. Soul Ninja, Nosferatu Odin, Soul Mage, Xander. Like, not only some of the most powerful, but some of the more straightforward ways to clear challenges come from that as well. And so when you get down to it, and the same is true for, you know, a game on an easier end of the spectrum, like Sacred Stones, right? Would often be described as an enemy phase game, because you have Seth, and Seth, like, just does stuff on enemy phase, right? But if you look at the end game of Sacred Stones, most of the strategies for Sacred Stones' end game, what they often come down to is warp skipping. You one turn, you one turn, here, I'll trade this stuff, because we're just doing capture things. You one turn, like, unless you want to do 200 fucking reinforcements on the Forest of Doom or whatever, right? You one turn that map, or even if you don't one turn it, you warp skip that map. You do that stuff on player phase. And so I think rather than looking at games as a whole, as player phase, enemy phase, and sort of reducing it down to, like, this is a player phase game, this is an enemy phase game, looking at units and looking at chapters, I think is if you want to use that term. Now, I think it's better to just say, like, because what most people mean is easy or hard. I think it's better just to say easy or hard. But if you want to describe why a game is easy, you know, the reason why Sacred Stones is easy is for a large portion of the game, you can just have Seth beat stuff up, and all you really have to think about is positioning. Whereas in Conquest, the reason the game is hard is enemy skill combinations create tricky formations that you have to find creative ways to solve. And sometimes you solve those on player phase by having, like, you know, archers deal with people without being countered, or kill the wary fighter guys with attack stance stuff or whatnot. But oftentimes you solve those on player phase things too. Look at some of the harder maps in Conquest, like the Ryoma map. If you want to play it, like, if you don't want to do the Korinchis, right? If you don't want to win the duel, you need to find enemy phase units to beat your way through those hallways. Conquest Chapter 10 gets a lot easier when you start looking at it as a route map and you push aggressively with units who can fight like 3 or 4 foes on enemy phase. And you do still, but even then, it's not just an enemy phase map, because you want to kill the bosses on player phase. Like, Obero has so many seal skills, you want to kill her on player phase so that she doesn't seal you. Because if you kill her in one round of combat, then you don't get sealed. And that's something that is much harder to do on enemy phase than player phase, right? This is Fire Emblem 5. This is Fire Emblem 5, yes. I was just answering a question about player phase game versus enemy phase game. Dawson, do you have room for one thing? Okay. We're cause this map is pretty chill. We're doing like, I mean, this portion of the map is pretty chill. We're doing like random ass just captures. I'm just refilling my lances basically. And getting some door keys. But yeah, does that make sense? You know, obviously you don't have to agree. I'm just I mean, you ask my logic. I think that it feels like a very like I understand calling a game easy sometimes feels a little reductive, especially because, like, you know, I find Sacred Stones easy, but maybe someone who's never played Fire Emblem before would find it hard. Or maybe someone who has just, like, ends up finding it hard because they do. Because, you know, different things are difficult to different people. But I think it's easier just to say that. There's two genders in Fire Emblem, Birthright and Conquest. Rev is non-binary. The majority of the community doesn't acknowledge it. Rev is non-binary, meaning it's the best one. I choose to accept that. Rev is non-binary, therefore best. Okay, do we have people in position to open doors? You have a door key.